Amigos, buenos días, buenas tardes y noches de todo el mundo, desde donde me estás mirando. Bienvenido de nuevo a mi canal de YouTube. Sigo siendo mi humilde yo, Podupiola Akinjolire. YouTube es la negra favorita, enfermera psiquiátrica practicante. Recuerde que me gusta de compartir, mira y suscribirse a mi canal de YouTube. Por lo tanto, continuamos con nuestro tema mecanismo de defensa. Hoy hablaremos de la supresión. ¿Qué es la supresión? What is suppression? Suppression is a conscious defense mechanism, meaning the person is aware of the situation that involves intentional choosing to set aside a thought, feeling, or a memory so that they can focus on something else. So there is intentional postponing of emotions. The person knows the feeling is there but decides to deal with it later. There is conscious control over attention. So there is redirecting of a focus on something more manageable or productive. It is an healthy short-term coping strategy. So when it is used as a short-term and not a chronic use, it helps to prevent overwhelming situation in the moment. When can suppression be helpful? Like I said earlier, it can be used as a healthy coping tool when used intentionally and temporarily. It can be helpful when managing emotions during a stressful task, like staying calm at work during a crisis, or creating space to think clearly. It helps an individual to pause strong emotions when making a decision. It also helps to prevent emotional flooding, choosing not to engage with a painful memory until there is a safe place, there is a safe atmosphere or secure time to redirect that. When is suppression unhelpful? If someone uses suppression too often, chronic use, it can turn into avoidance behavior. It can be like a chronic emotional avoidance. It can be unhelpful when there is increased stress or anxiety over time. It can be unhelpful when there is difficulty in processing unresolved feelings. So everyday example of situation when we choose not to think about an argument, maybe after work, a person may feel upset but tell themselves that I will deal with this later tonight. I need to focus on something right now. Maybe you're in the midst of doing an interview, doing a very cogent exam, but you don't want those news to just buy you or to destabilize you, so you just want to deal with it later. That life example is putting aside sadness during a family event. Example, someone may recently receive a bad news, decides to stay present for a child's birthday party. You don't want the child to feel the hurt that you are hurt. You don't want the child to know that you are hurt, so you just want to ensure the child is happy for that birthday party. Then afterwards you can deal with it later. What about delaying worry about finances when bills are due? You know that the stress is there. Intentionally postpone thinking about it. What about school or work? Example, a student can postpone anxiety about checking grades after an exam because there could be nervousness. You consciously push the thought aside to stay focused, right? What about workers, nurses, workers? You may feel overwhelmed, but just to stay calm and revisit the feeling after the shift. So you don't want the patient to see you that you are anxious, so you want to just stabilize yourself, curtail the situation so that it will not escalate. What about a manager ignoring frustration during a meeting? They may stay professional while processing the emotion later. What about relationship? Example, you're not reacting to a partner hurtful comment at the heat of an argument. You may choose to wait until the situation is calmer or the other person is calmer before discussing or addressing it. You know that the emotion is there, but you intentionally keep it to contain it later. You are choosing not to bring up a sensitive topic during a stressful time. You decide the timing isn't right and save it for later. What about postponing grief to get through daily responsibility? Someone who may have lost a loved one will choose to focus on tasks to avoid breaking down at work. There are times that situation can make you remind of that loved one that that one lost. You choose to postpone that grief to just get through your daily activities so that you won't break down. What about setting aside fear before a medical procedure? An individual acknowledging that there is fear, especially a procedure like an enclosed procedure like MRI, choose to stay composed. You don't want your anxiety to overwhelm you. What about delaying anger to avoid reacting positively? An individual consciously breathe or walk away and revisit the issue later. How do we work with suppression with clients or in therapy? You can help an individual to understand how to use suppression in a balanced way by identifying what emotions are being set aside. You want to explore why the timing feel unsafe or overwhelming. You want to create a plan to revisit the emotion later. You don't want to pile it up and forget about revisiting that situation. Emotional regulation skills that can help de-escalate stressful situation or triggers. You are putting this feeling in a mental box until you are ready to open it. You are not ignoring the emotion, you are scheduling it at a secure and stable time. So therapeutic exercises can be journaling the postponed emotion. You want to write things down when you are setting aside and you revisit the situation. You want to schedule time later to reprocess the situation. Also, you want to notice the emotion without acting on it. That is mindful grounding. Healthy strategies to help with an individual using suppression, coping mechanism or defense mechanism. You want to build awareness of the suppressed emotion, naming the emotion, helping to identify that you are consciously postponing something. And self-awareness is key as the number one step to explore what also leads to that situation surrounding it. We want to encourage strengthening emotional regulation skills. It can be through deep breathing exercises, cognitive reframing, help the individual to shift how they interpret the function of suppression. We want to strengthen support system that can encourage an individual to share emotions with trusted people. Eso es todo por ahora. Espero que hayas una o dos cosas. Hasta la próxima. Gracias por vernos. Te agradezco tu tiempo. Adiós por ahora. Bye for now. Thank you.